I used to think I was a genius for flipping my old Lego sets for 50% or even 100% profit. I really did. I'd buy a set, stash it away, wait for it to retire, and then sell it. Sealed in a box for a nice little payday. And I was happy. Then it hit me. I was leaving an absolute fortune on the table. Today, I'm going to show you the exact strategy I've been using for the last 4 years to break down sets like this one and sell off the individual pieces for a massively higher return. I'm gonna walk you through the numbers, show you the proof, and explain why your old Lego sets are likely worth far more in pieces than they are a whole. This is the single biggest lesson I learned in Lego investing, and it's something most resellers are completely missing out on. So if you're a Lego fan or investor, you're gonna wanna stick around for this. And if you want more tips on how to turn your hobby into a profit, hit that subscribe button right now so you don't miss what is coming. So before we continue, I need to put in a sense of caution before you start emptying your bank account in the first Lego shop you come across. Not every Lego set is worth it to break its seal. Some are definitely worth it to keep sealed. I know. I've mentioned this set a lot in previous videos, but what if the set you just parted out is in fact the new Cloud City? For those who don't know, Star Wars set 10-123 Cloud City is one of the most iconic Star Wars set ever made and is now worth over 7,000 euros in a new and a sealed condition. What I'm trying to say here is always do your own research. So for years my game plan was simple, mostly because I thought it was the only way. You buy a set, ideally something popular like Star Wars or Harry Potter or whatever, when you find it on sale. You store it, keeping it in that box in a perfect condition, waiting for the magic words officially retired by Lego. A few months later, you list that mint condition set on eBay. The collectors who missed out will gladly pay a premium. You could often double your money, and I thought I was on top of the mountain. 100% return. What other hobby gives you this? It felt like a huge win. And this method is super appealing because it's easy. It's clean. You buy one box, you store one box, it lists one box, and ship one box. It's the path of the least resistance. And the profit feels great. Really does. You see that PayPal notification for 200 euros on a set you paid 100 euros for, and you feel like a financial wizard. But what I finally realized was that I was only picking the lowest hanging fruit. I was so focused on how simple it was and how good enough the profit felt that I couldn't see the entire orchard of value I was walking right past. I was a reseller, but I wasn't getting the most out of my assets. I treated a Lego like a single stock, but actually it's not. It's a hand-picked collection of hundreds of individual, functional, and sometimes rare parts. By selling it as one big lump, I was letting the buyer capture all of the value that I was too lazy or just too uninformed to unlock myself. It was the single biggest mistake of my early reselling days, and it was costing me hundreds. So the big shift in my strategy came down to one idea: parting out. I know, it sounds like a crime to a sealed box collector, but parting out is when you intentionally break a seal, open the box and break down the entire set to sell the pieces individually. From a pure profit standpoint, it's often the smartest move you can make. The core idea is simple. The sum of the parts is often worth more than the whole. So why is it so much more profitable? A couple of key things are happening in the Lego world. First and most importantly, the minifigures. The minifigs in a set, especially unique characters from big franchises, are frequently the most valuable items in the box. In a lot of cases, the value of the minifigs alone can meet or even exceed 75% of the set's original retail price. Just think about it. Someone who just wants a specific Star Wars character for their collection probably doesn't want to buy a 150 euro starship to get it. They'd much rather Hop on a marketplace like BrickLink or BrickOwl and pay 20 or 30 euros for that one figure. When you sell the sealed set, you're selling the 30 euro minifig for its tiny proportional cost inside that box. Secondly is the hunger for specific parts. MOC builders, by the way, that stands for my own creation, are always on the hunt for very specific pieces in very specific colors for their custom projects. Maybe they need a printed tile that they only ever appeared in one set, or a weirdly shaped Technic piece. These builders will pay a premium for those individual parts because it saves them from buying a whole expensive set they don't even need. Basically, it's like an old car. You can scrap the whole thing for a few €100, or you can sell the engine, the transmission and the chassis for way more separately. This strategy changes you from a simple box flipper into a strategic parts supplier. You're not just serving collectors anymore. You're serving a massive global market of builders, customizers, and people who just want to replace that one piece their vacuum cleaner sucked up. You're providing a service and you're getting paid well for it. The term you need to know is part out value, or POV for short. This is the estimated total you can make by selling all of the individual contents of a set. And as you're about to see, the POV can absolutely crush the sealed box value. Talk is cheap. So let's look at the actual numbers with a real world example. We're gonna use a retired set, the LEGO Star Wars 75-283 Armored Assault Tank, or AAT for short. This set retailed for $39.99 before it retired, a perfect bread and butter example. First off, we're gonna do the old way. I was able to grab a few of these on clearance for 30 euros. So if I sold one sealed a year after it retired, I could possibly get 60 euros for it. After eBay's fees, about 30%, and shipping, let's call it 10 euros, my net revenue would be roughly 40 to 20 euros. That leaves a total profit of 12.20 euros, a 40% return on my investment. That's not bad. You made lunch money. But let's see what's left on the table. Now we're gonna see the new way. We're gonna part it out. Same set, same 30 euro cost, but this time we're gonna crack it open. The first thing we do is pull out the high value assets, the minifigs. This set includes 4 of them: a battle droid, an AAT driver droid, Ahsoka Tano, and her 332nd Company clone trooper. As of late 2025, the market for these figures remains strong. The 332nd clone trooper is a star, selling for about 7 euros. The unique Ahsoka Tano minifig goes for around 5. The 2 droids can be sold as a pair for about 4 euros. So right there, just for the 4 minifigs, we have a new total about 16 euros. But we're not done yet. We still have the 286-piece tank. While there are no super rare parts in the tank itself, it's packed with useful plates, slopes and tires in very desirable colors. Based on current market data, after sorting them, you can sell the remaining parts for an additional 50 to 60 euros. Let's be conservative and say we get 55 euros for the parts. Now let's add it all up. So the minifigs go for 16, the rest of the parts go for 55, so the total part out revenue is 71 euros. Now for the cost. Selling individual parts means more transactions. So let's use a conservative 4% average for the platform fees. That's around 2 euros in fees. Shipping will also be different as you will have multiple small orders. So let's estimate a total of 10 euros for shipping, materials and postage. So our total cost for selling the parts is 12 euros. Now it's time for the big reveal. Let's compare. The old way, as in selling the sealed set as a whole, we have a profit of 12 euros and 20 cents. The new way, so we're gonna part it out and sell the set and sell the pieces individually, we have a profit of 29 euros. How did I calculate this? We take the 71 euros as a revenue minus 12 euros cost minus 30 euros initial investment. The profit from parting out is nearly double the profit from selling it sealed, a 97% increase from the same 30 euro investment. And this is only for a small set whose key minifigures have remained steady and they didn't skyrocket. Imagine the numbers on a set with more exclusive minifigures or rarer parts. That is the power of unlocking part out value. It takes more work, of course, but the reward is significantly greater. Okay, so you're sold. You see the numbers and you're ready to start unlocking this hidden value. Where do you even begin? So here's a quick start guide. First of all is platforms. For selling individual Lego pieces and minifigs, the undisputed kings are BrickLink and BrickOwl. BrickLink is the biggest and oldest marketplace. It's actually owned by Lego, with a huge fan base of serious builders. It has a bit of a learning curve, but that's where the action is. BrickOwl is newer, independent and more user-friendly, which makes it a great starting point for beginners. A lot of sellers, including me, run stores on both platforms to maximize the reach. eBay is also an option, especially for flipping popular minifigures fast, but the fees are higher and scammers are not that uncommon, so pay attention for those. Next up, you're gonna need a few basic tools. Don't worry, this won't break your bank. First of all, you're gonna need a digital scale that measures in grams to calculate your shipping weight. Second of all, you need a good supply of small plastic baggies to pack your parts. And most importantly, you need a storage and a sorting system. This is so important for staying sane. Most people start with the simple plastic drawer organizers. And as you grow, you might upgrade to those acromills you see in the workshops. Don't gloss over this. An organized inventory is the backbone of a good parts business. And a word to the wise, for European sellers, acromills bins are insanely expensive. Go for the cheaper options. Go for Raco, Parkside or other bins that have manufacturers in Europe. Finally, let's talk about the big question, and that is the time it takes. And yes, parting out sets is work. You have to sort pieces, you have to identify them, list them online, and then pick and pack every order. This is not passive income, guys, but I want to reframe how you think about that time. You're not just doing a tedious task, you're building a business. You're building an inventory of assets that generates cash flow. And when you look at the profit margins we just discussed, the hourly rate you pay yourself off can be shockingly low. And this is where the honesty comes in. Reselling Lego is not a get-rich-quick scheme. So before you start, think long and hard before you want to part out that first set. When you make that first investment, you are in for the long run, because the real money is not the money you gain to sell off parts from that one set you parted out, but keeping consistent by expanding your inventory and offering a greater diversity to your customers. You can start small, part out 1 or 2 sets on a weekend and just see how it feels. The best part of this model is that it's scalable. You can start with a single 20 euro set and grow it into a serious side hustle or even a full-time business, one brick at a time. So that's the secret. I spilled the beans. That's why I break apart a perfectly good sealed Lego set. It's the difference between making a small one-time flip and building a sustainable, high-margin business. Selling a sealed set is one and done. Parting out a set creates an inventory of hundreds of little products that can sell for months or even years, giving you a steady stream of income. It's absolutely more work, but the payoff can be huge, turning a fun hobby into a genuinely profitable venture. So if you're sitting on a collection of old sets, you might be sitting on a gold mine. You just have to be willing to do the digging. Don't be afraid to break the seals. The real value isn't in the cardboard, it's in the plastic. So if this video opened your eyes to a new way of thinking about Lego, just do me a favor and hit that subscribe button right there. This whole channel is about Lego reselling, investing, and tutorials about the nitty-gritty of running a profitable BrickLink store. And I want to hear from you. Drop me a comment down below with your biggest question about parting out, or tell me about the most valuable minifig you've ever found. I read and I reply to as many comments as I can. Thanks all for watching, and I will see you in the next video.